Well, hey there, you're on the internet, I have some free time, and welcome to the Triple N Network, where all you newbie nib nerds can find all the news you'll need. Let's look at an ink today, shall we? Now, today's ink, which is Pilot Namiki Blue, I have no idea what these bottles look like. I only have a sample. And I don't know if the Namiki cartridges are different from the Pilot cartridges. I think they are, because this is a different blue than the ones I've seen before. And it definitely behaves much differently than most of the Pilot inks, so I guess whatever the Namiki designation is significant. So all the tests were done in this TWSBI 580 with a broad nib. Not that you'll be able to see it because my camera's being bad today. And also this Kaweco Ice Sport with a medium nib. Now, I thought lately I've been doing this thing with my chromatography where I let the ink dry on the chromatography paper to see how that affects the performance. And as you can see, there is a significant change in performance here. A lot of the blue remains at the bottom, a little bit moves up. There's some purple, and then there's this big empty band, and then you see this sort of sea foamy turquoise at the top. Here, there's still this halo. I hope you can see that. There's still this halo where the initial drop was, but it's a much more consistent band. A lot of the blue goes all the way up to the top. You still see some purple, and you still see the turquoise. Thought I'd compare it to a couple other inks. Here's Jeroboam's Eclat de Saphir, Rohrenklinger's Salix, or sorry, it's Rhodia und Klingner. My German is terrible, but I at least try. Jeroboam's Lavender Scented Blue, Diamond's Indigo, Noodler's Bad Belted Kingfisher, and here at the bottom, Pilot Namiki Blue. And one of the things about this ink is it kind of has a matte sort of effect to it, sort of like an inherent wooliness, which was why I picked the inks that I did. They all sort of have that to a degree, but as you can see, it's a much more bright and lighter blue than the rest. Lavender, of course, being slightly more purple. Top down in density, Clairefontaine, 90 grams per square meter. It's a decent degree of shading, as I hope you'll be able to see, but it's not a particularly vibrant or bold blue. It's fairly... Why is my camera acting like this today? It's a fairly straightforward, very medium, almost light blue. I doubt I'll be able to get it on camera, but there is some red metallic sheen in the TWSBI. Very small, but there is some. You see a little of it there. But yeah, no bleed, feather, or spread. Decent flow, just slightly wet. Water test is seriously impressive. I mean, look at that. You can almost see how hard I must have scrubbed it because you can see the dragging when I was moving the water around. But still, it's very there, very clear, very dark. No exploding, no feathering. And did so well, I decided to swipe a Q-tip with 1/3 bleach solution between where I put the two drops. So it doesn't hold up to bleach, but it certainly holds up to water very impressively. Next is Rhodia, 80 grams per square meter, where again we see fairly decent dry times. We still see a decent degree of shading. Still sort of a perfectly decent, though generally uninteresting blue. Shades well, no bleed, feather, spread. Again, fantastic water test. But again, the bleach test. So it's not bleach resistant, but it's definitely water resistant. Next is Tomoe River Paper, where it took 7 and 13 seconds to dry respectively. And here you definitely see some of that red sheen. I'm going to try and get it on camera again. I don't know if it's going to let me. But yeah, you definitely see it. Yeah, it shades well, but it's not like a super intense shader. So there's some echo, because as is often the case with these like woolly textured inks, whatever it is that makes them sink in and be fairly water resistant and give it that woolly sort of texture, it can be very affecting to the paper. So keep an eye out for echo. Again, fantastic water test, especially considering this is Tomoe River. It loves to just wash away when you add more water. That's very good. It even resisted the bleach a bit. You can see it's sort of like a gray purple. So that's kind of interesting. Next is the 20-pound copier paper, where I only used the Kaweco with the medium nib. And as you can see, all the shading is gone. It's a fairly flat, almost light blue, 3.5 seconds to dry. And this Kaweco Ice Sport is a very standard, very straightforward medium nib. It's one of the reasons why I like to use it for tests. It's very middle of the road, and yet still we have bleed through, which is not something I like to see in a medium nib. I generally like mediums to be medium, you know, I like them to do all right. But yeah, there was some spread and feathering too. I'm going to try and bring it in close so you can see it. But yeah, could have been a heck of a lot worse. Again, the water test, fantastic. Bleach test, not so much. Next is Mead Notebook Paper, where again, I only used the Kaweco medium. Here you still see a bit of shading, which is kind of nice. Again, it's a fairly flat, kind of woolly blue, 3 seconds to dry. It did bleed in spots, and the echo is fairly serious where it didn't fully bleed through. However, this water test is fantastic. I firmly believe that definitely an extra fine, maybe in a fine, this ink would do very well on this paper, which is really thin and really cheap. But yeah, as you can see, it's mostly here along the edge, but still a little bit in the middle. Again, bleach test pretty much obliterated it. And lastly is Moleskin notebook paper, and again, this is the deceptively well-behaved Moleskin paper. But even here, it wasn't perfect. There was no bleed, but we did get feathering, and we did get some spread even in the medium nib. So, not ideal, but not horrible. Water test, again, fantastic. Bleach test, gone. So, yeah, there you go. There's Pilot Namiki Blue. I have never seen this ink except in samples, but it's a really decent blue. It's not fascinating in color. It's not freakishly bleach resistant the way some Noodler's inks are, but it's fairly well behaved. It does, I'd say, somewhat impressively well on cheap paper considering how permanent it is. So yeah, really not bad. For your consideration from the Triple N Network, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching. Bye.